Oh yeah, then man you do nam kita dang bisim je tamche nam ket lan me yang to zo sangi ko wan bo chila chini kyang ko pracha te tun tu chu so mun dang isen ne kyang nyam so long ri gyu nyem bi tu ke bata che te sen salsa.
Please generate the motivation of bodhicitta, thinking, in order to establish all mother sentient beings who are limitless in number as the expanse of space at the level of perfect, complete enlightenment and omniscience, I will now listen to this profound teaching of the great perfection and put it into practice accordingly. So with that, please rouse the correct motivation.
Yeah, ta nyen tu da ya ki tene tepa ni de charne ta sumba tene chanshu sem ki tepa sakin tele deures.
We've covered now the Shravaka and Pratyeka Buddha vehicle. Now we move on to the third vehicle, the Bodhisattva vehicle.
Tene chanshu sem ki tepa tela tene ewa ina tene tekchen tela sem zambatan tene stepjem tene ta uma pasa to the damshi banyu yeveres.
The Bodhisattva vehicle can be has a twofold inner division into the mind-only school and the middle way school.
Tene sem zambi ke tumta sekinte kangale se banje tene kunda shwa yung rupsum sekinte nani shiji ge tamje tan la fap ke yores.
The mind-only or Chittamatra school resolves all phenomena by means of what they call the three natures: the imputed nature, dependent nature, and fully established nature.
Oh yeah, tene umapa ge tumta tela tene kunjup tangatun tene dondam ki deba ni su che ne go ne she ge yores.
Whereas the middle way or Madhyamaka proponents, they explain things in terms of relative truth and ultimate truth.
Ta dila jewa she ge na sem sam la ya be ge tene nam jewa tan nam dim pa tan nam jul pa sang she ge ro umala yena umara ju pa tan thar ki pa she ge tizo tamji ke and dosul to man da wat ne yore ta tene mo la tene chu chu ke je kyol gyu yo mare te te indu kana ta maran so ke tene donda dodo chine par she shaba yena ni o ya tene chachu sem ke tepa de la tene ta dagi se sheba na shin je tekshen sem sem ba ta chachu sem ke tepa na ba ni yore tenzo tamche ke tene sheshi to with kangarese panje tene kunzup tan ton tam ko ni shegore kunzup te mata ka na ro chi chen she to yore ngaran zo uman chukwa na la isha temu gran shin te kunzup te kan chumur girbe che temur girbe ke te chede kunzup te che to wa te sung te esla ra te ndi ka chi na wa ga na wa ta tham che te tene kunzubre ya temi ke su naida ti ro raksa sem ke topa thamche dona lo ijo yu de giba thamche te kunzub ke chores ti tene rashi mato bares te gi ngo de tongpa nyere sa tene yo pata me pata ni ka nyimi ki ta thamche le tarwa ya tene da nyen thyo ke segen na shin je ke kansa ke dame chik ku tongpa ya se go mare rang sang ke segen na shin je ke dame chingi da tongpa ye tian da ku mare da nigar te kansa ka da shu ki da nigar hasin da mat bu dogen te tekshin sem jam pa ge do gore tekshin umma pa ge do yores.
These two schools, these two philosophical systems that we find in the Bodhisattva vehicle, they also have further inner divisions and distinctions. We won't go into those, but there are different types of mind-only proponents who have slightly different views, different types of middle way proponents, like the who have slightly different views. But we won't get into those details for lack of time. If we boil down the kind of main central points of the Bodhisattva vehicle, Bodhisattva vehicle and its two philosophical systems of mind-only and middle way, we can say that they followers of the Bodhisattva vehicle understand or explain phenomena in terms of relative and ultimate truth. They regard relative truth as being impure, as being mistaken. So, for instance, all appearances, everything that we experience through our five senses, our eyes, ears, nose, through smell, taste and touch, and also our mind, all of these appearances or experiences they regard as being unreal, as being imputed and not real, and they understand that all of these experiences ultimately are free, are not truly existent, and they are free of the four extremes, the extremes of existence, non-existence, both, and neither. So in this way, the understanding of the practitioners, the followers of the Bodhisattva vehicle, their understanding exceeds that of the Shravakas and also the Pratyeka Buddhas. The Shravakas only realized the selflessness of the person. The Pratyeka Buddhas went a bit further and realized not just the selflessness of person, but also part of the selflessness of phenomena. The Bodhisattvas realize the selflessness of the person and the selflessness of phenomena in its entirety. So the two types of selflessness. In short, they understand that all phenomena, without exception, are emptiness by nature. They do not truly exist. That is how things are ultimately. And this is accepted and asserted by both the mind-only and middle-way proponents. That's
ini ta pena uma thangir ba do ji ke che na chu tham chin do ne tra ba tra tong ba ni res yin na ya de ne ta singi te ku ta wa ta wa ta bin to sho de ne uma thangir ba re uma thangir ba ki de ne chu tham chin do ne tra ba tan tra ve la shin res re de ne thangir de la de ne ta bi kun jo ta ma ta bi kun jo ni yo res de inde ga ta ngaran so pena dum ka ro ta wa ta bu ji de ne 양다 군조브레스 동서로트네 처티네 징게 동서로트 왔다베데 델로비 군조브레스 데베인데 양다 군조 경원에 레균제게 남샤타고 당 빵빵게 나샤타 차베체 탐시데 데 요레스 데데 강 탄예데 로메 바요바레스 데니 다 디나신게 탄예게 데네 마주바데 리봉거라도 당 데네 딩간로게 데네 동서로트 라 추시 탐시데 로파레스 데데네 아란소이나 데네 군좀 남라다 양다 군좀 라고 군좀 니요데 칸라 니 다 양다 군좀 세컨데 사트나 람긴 남셔다 단단 가란조 통데 긴게데니 양다 바다 시셰바 마트바다 양다 군좀 세컨지 세고요레 텔라테네 마 텔레 로비게데네 트루와 탐젤라 텔 로비 군좀 세고요 테 디니게 고네 돈 담버트바다 트라와데 타녜라 데네 양다 군좀 로비 군좀 요레 레균데게 남샤 요레 다다 마타게 나와데 요레
So in the Bodhisattva vehicle, for instance, the prasangika or consequentialist middle way proponents, so from among the different philosophical systems in the Bodhisattva vehicle, the pinnacle system is said to be that of the consequentialist middle way proponents, or the prasangika madhyamikas. They explain that ultimately, on the ultimate level, all phenomena, all things, are primordially, essentially empty. They are emptiness by their very nature, beyond all conceptual marks and characteristics. Nevertheless, on the relative or conventional level, they posit two types of relative truth: a correct relative truth and mistaken relative truth. They do make this distinction on the level of conventional experience. They say correct relative truth is, for instance, perceiving a white conch as white, whereas someone who has jaundice perceives a white conch as yellow, or that is mistaken relative truth. So they say all of our functioning, our present appearances and experiences that function according to causality, all appearances, so the process, all of our present, all the present experiences and appearances that function according to cause and condition, these all pertain to correct relative truth. Likewise, on the level of correct relative truth, they posit karmic causality. They posit that there are certain things that should be done, certain things that should not be done, so adopting and rejecting. They posit purity and impurity. It's on the level of correct relative truth that they present the stages of the paths and stages to enlightenment, and so on. On the other hand, mistaken relative truth they explain to be, like I said, the person with jaundice who perceives a white conch as yellow, or for instance perceiving things that don't actually exist in terms of our relative, things that don't exist or function in relative experience, like the horns of a rabbit. All such things are labeled mistaken relative. So this is the prasangika madhyamaka, or consequentialist middle way position. They do assert that all things are empty by their very nature, free of all extremes, free of all concepts on the ultimate level, but relatively they still make this presentation and a distinction between correct and mistaken truth, and on the level of correct relative truth, they do make distinctions in terms of accepting, rejecting, correct and incorrect, and so on. That's all. And they posit karmic causality, the functioning of karma as well.
Oh yeah, tene shewang ke tharduk de ta yongdup ni de dam re se tene sungyo tene shewang tharduk de kang resana zawati tene sem tu de wares tene sem de tene sungzi ni ge sem de mare sungzi ni ge sem de kundare tene shewang ke nangsul shewang de ne sul shewang de tene rangri rangsas again de sheba rangri rangsas again de data to sungzi da yedong ge sheba rangri rangsas de dondam res di den tartu ko tosa res da di dendu res la ko den du kanta uma padang sem zama ni metik be kan sha wala sana rangri rangsas dendu bi se de kanta digi chhe digi de uma thakir ko ge de kyo ge dong ni sha dang dong men dus da nyen tyo dang rang sang ge le kyo ta thwa re den ba re chhe tham che sungzi ni ge ma chhe bi chhe tham che 강사 게 담에 쇼게 담에 이거 교 도요래 되기도데 예나야 교게 셰바는랑스 딘두빈스 라운드 간라 데 교게 되네다 동이 사단 도면도 셰바데 딘두빈람나 뜻이 과당 통기면도 롱다야 통기면도 대마라다 롱다 통기래도 딜랑가시 과다 공방엔트 공바레선 되는 장전을 맞더라디 내려 말이 상계적인 데게 공부 렌트면도 되네 umapagiti gami trechota dil mangpochre tibet mangpochre ta dilla nang tu sark mari eti ta tindre chemte umar rangi pati ngetyo dang rangi le ta pa yimba tang uma thangil pa le ma wa yimba gyetse tires
asumsh simsamagi rangshin sungi namsha to simsambe rangshin sungi namsha bi dorji chini sonsa
kunta shewang yongdu songro ba kunta ka ta shewang ni de kunzo bra shewang de la ni yor ba ni sur shewang da nang sur shewang da kunta ni ta chik pa to jire ta de le jil mong to ta pe mong re ba de ni sur shewang de ne dire ta sa song jing ni dong ge sheba na sa ti den du bin la ta kunzo gu dum da ge gyo de de cha go den du bin sam ti den du men le gyun de te ge ma re so khorbi ge na wa ta jeba bo te ge ma re sa ba sem jaba ti se go ba ti la pu ti umapagwe tabudu kanga kyun tongo yore nyentyo tang rangel nyele lakare di argatala midil chikte seven zamba chusoro
So we're talking about the view, right? And the view of the Shravakas was to assert the ultimate existence of the two partless phenomena, right? Partless particle and partless moment of consciousness. The view of the Pratyeka Buddhas succeeded the view of the Shravakas by coming to understand that the partless particle does not ultimately exist, but they still held on to this notion of the partless moment of consciousness having ultimate existence. So now at the level of the Bodhisattva vehicle, we have two philosophical systems, mind only and middle way. We have mind only and middle way. The highest of these views is the middle way view. They go further. They surpass the view of the mind only system. Nevertheless, the mind only, the view of mind only school is still an incredibly high and developed view. It surpasses the view of the Pratyeka Buddhas, the vehicle below it, because the mind-only proponents understand that they understand the emptiness of all phenomena. So whereas the Pratyeka Buddhas were still asserting the emptiness of part of phenomena, they understand the emptiness of all phenomena. Where the mind-only and middle way view come into a disagreement is regarding the mind-only proponents' assertion that there is an ultimately, on the ultimate level, there is a subtle consciousness which they describe as self-aware and self-clear, we could say a reflexive, lucid awareness. They assert that there is such an awareness that is truly existent on the ultimate level. The middle way proponents do not agree with this. They say that this is a mistaken belief, and they refute it through both logic and scriptural reference. And the middle way view is understood to be a more developed and higher view. To go back to the mind-only view, the mind-only school presents, they explain phenomena in terms of the three natures, which I mentioned by name earlier. So the imputed nature, the dependent nature, and the fully established nature. The first two, the imputed and dependent nature, both pertain to the relative truth, so they do not truly exist. But the fully established nature, they divide into two. So the fully established nature of the way things are, or the way things abide, and the fully established nature of the way things appear. From among these two, the fully established nature of the way things are or abide, the mind-only proponents assert is real. So they say that, and what they assert is real. To be real is this subtle awareness that is reflexive and lucid. And this is, again, what the middle way proponents will not accept and what they refute. The middle way proponent, as I've said, the middle way proponents refute this in terms of reasoning, logical reasoning, and they do that in great detail and successfully. They also refute it in terms of scripture. They say your assertion is not in accord with Buddha's own statements as recorded in the scriptures. And then the middle way, the mind-only proponents then point to the Lankavatara Sutra, where statements asserting subtle awareness are found. But the middle way proponents then correct the mind-only proponents, saying, no, that sutra was taught as an expedient teaching. It wasn't taught at the level of ultimate truth. And so on. So there is, both in terms of scripture and reasoning, there is a lot of detail that can be found and gone into. regarding these two systems. So this is the view of the Bodhisattva vehicle. And to backtrack a bit, so just another point about the mind-only view. It succeeds the Pratyeka Buddha position because they understand that. They go further in their realization, their understanding of emptiness, but it's more limited than the middle way position because they still hold on to this existence of a subtle type of awareness. That's so much.
Tene ta umma pagi ne labdu kanga shebar ngal na sa dindu bre sigin ti tene na tongyi ma tong do schu ge tongyi shu ge dang me to min du ku to yes ka chu ge dang me ta kansa da ma ni ga to yes ge de umma pagi ta ong du kanga ta ron ya tene ge ge tene dang me yong so to min du kang re se pan chu shebar ngal na sa te dindu mo to gen se ba indu kanga tigi tene tigi min du se ka ba ta ne ta umma pa khona ta rang ju pa ta thar ju rang ju la ko ta mangu yor ta de mangu lap tena ngo jar ke mare te chirtang umma pa khasha ma sa chu tham ju tong tong shin da me pa resta wa ti indu ta pe ti la ri pa mangu shi yo re ngarang so ina gule che pa dor ji sa ma ta de mangu ri pa mangu she ge yo re te ti ta je shi ri pi ko ne she ne tene ta shebarang ri rang sa ti de tu gu mare sen ta so manju pa ta ngarang so ge tene 조주기 샤르리고 나왔다 뱀미가 하려면서 가지고 그랬고 망고지 까네 대 두고 말에 스테이드 강 최최 탐지 동반이 또 민도 스타로야 되네 그 되네 동반이 차상도 맞던 때다와 탑도 버리면도 가봤다네 다른 엄마가 교겠다와 그러면서 나도 다 남동성 죽잡아 탐지다 잡아 예밤에 바니까 님인게 다 탐지했죠 당가라 자시도 왜나 다지 강을 텐진도 가보면 좀 타이겠다 타시다 도서 손이 되게 동반이티 타투가 내리고 그랬대 딜 나갔다 왔다 요 말이 진짜 타르제니 오야 되네다 우마 간세스나 샘점바 마세베지기 우마 랑지 봐야 지지 타니랑 세트 좀 탐제 까네 되네다 우마 탐제로 쳐 탐지 좀 받아 잡아들이 슬라 다티 럽도 간라 타이 녀퇴다 랑젤레 샘점바티 자가샤 따오거니 샘점발레 우마바티 자가샤 돼 딘도 간다 전부 라시드 머트바 탐지다 트라바레데 냠샴 갑 시에we 네캅소 쳬탐지 트라바단 트라바레스 제트브기 네캅소 시에we 네캅나 데사단 남긴 납샤 탐지 켈랭고레 레균디기 강 켈랭고레 양다 군중다 로부 군중기 개발을 시작거래서 딱 군기 이제 보기 신도 나담로 두고디 말루마르당 때레 모르당 갈 뒤져요 말이 띠딘데기 거니 다 샘잠발레냐 우마 털길 바디 탐지 쳬탐지 트라바다 트라바레 센터 송원도 강나 좀더 탐지기 대과 탐지나는 다시오디 오만 탐지 작소리스
전제선배 대보 대보 탐지긴 한데
다 네 순위 대과나 다시오디 단 저거 주랑 이 뒤뒤뒤 저올랍게 뭐다 설설맞다
So the middle way proponents, from their point of from their higher understanding, the perspective of their higher understanding, they see that the mind-only proponents have not realized all phenomena to be emptiness. The mind-only proponents might think that they have realized the selflessness, the emptiness of phenomena in its entirety, but the middle way proponents understand that actually they haven't, because they're still asserting the ultimate existence of this reflexive, lucid awareness. This then the middle way proponents refute through many types of reasoning. They prove that such a type of awareness cannot have ultimate existence. It's not possible. They do this through many types of logical reasoning, such as the reasoning that examines the cause and so on. These reasonings can be found in the middle way treatises, such as Chandrakirti's Introduction to the Middle Way, in, for instance, the chapter on prajna in the Bodhisattva Charyavatara, and so on. Essentially, they establish that the mind-only proponents have not arrived at the ultimate consummate point of view. their view is not the highest view to be had. The highest view to be had, the middle way proponents state, is the view that they hold, namely the view that understands all phenomena without exception to be emptiness by its very nature, an emptiness which is free of the four extremes of existence, non-existence, and so on, free also of the 8 extremes, and so on. This is established and taught in detail in Nagarjuna's root verses of the Middle Way. From the perspective of these Middle Way proponents, and specifically within the school of the Middle Way, there's a twofold division into the Middle Way. There's a twofold division. The highest of those two schools are called the Prasangika, or the consequentialist Middle Way proponents. So from their point of view, there's no they've reached the final conclusion, the highest view, the final conclusion about the true nature of things, and there is nowhere further to go according to their position. They've refuted the positions of all of the schools lower than them, including the mind only and including the Svatantrika middle way proponents. They say that in meditative equipoise, when resting in meditative equipoise, one realizes that all phenomena are empty, free of all extremes, free of beyond all concepts. However, when one rises from meditative equipoise into post-meditation, then one needs to accept and act in accord with the stages, the gradual stages on the path to enlightenment. One needs to posit the two types of relative truth, correct and mistaken. One needs to accept and follow the law of karma, and so on. So they still, in post-meditation, make these assertions. So from among the three vehicles of the vehicle of characteristics, the causal vehicle of characteristics, we can see that the view held by the middle way consequentialist proponents, the Prasangika Madhyamakas, is the highest and supreme of all the views.
Ta umat thangir pati tsa chishu ta tawa tamje total tsa chishu indu tine ta umat thangir peki tine tawa gumba choba kangresa na umat thangir pata theksen chila damna jegire ta rangri rangsal dindu de peki gone tine umar ni kanse sem chambate tumta ma chadore ma to ge chitnangi yagi ni ngarang so salam ge tosulte mehon bujik lula senda ta chi chana shinda lula mo yo kirete mehon bujita kunjelong shen ramjong ge lula ene tiksen thamji ke salam ge to thangdi chikpa yin song yo ta ti lungtang ge to de lungtang na tuzu mindu tine ta na tawa gumba choba khare ta uma thangir pa ta sem chamba ke ya tawa di khare sna tine ta durdu ji segen tawa de tong yu chob ke gumba te changchup sum chusum tu sabdun tine choba ti paro chimba tu tene jewo de tene kunyi top ke tres sobu da chukunyi tawa tres ten tawa khanda tongi choke de gomba os changju sumju tu choba ki me paro chimba tu jewo sanki lame to na yin song jewo sanki lame to na jewo la na be sangi sobu da chukunyi top ke de tene dishi ta tene digas sham to ke yan tala mongo tene she shana tenga mo wo shi girak samaris.
So in the causal vehicle from among the causal vehicles of characteristics, the highest position, the highest view, the best view is the view of the Prasangika Madhyamikas, the consequentialist middle way proponents, the view of emptiness free of all constructs or all concepts. Then in terms of meditation, conduct, and so on, what is the case? Well, according to the, of course, within the bodhisattva vehicle, as I've stated, there are these different views. For instance, the view of the mind-only proponents, right? But according to the position of Mipam Rinpoche and Longchenpa, in spite of the difference in views between the middle way and mind-only proponents, the way that they traverse the various stages of the path to enlightenment, the 5 paths and 10 bhumis, that's the same. The Bodhisattva practitioners of both mind-only and middle way schools journey through the stages to enlightenment in the same way. So according to that view, then simply speaking, the view of the Bodhisattva vehicle is the view of 18-fold emptiness. The meditation practice is the practice of the 37 factors of enlightenment. The conduct is the conduct of the 6 paramitas. And the result is to attain unsurpassable enlightenment endowed with the 2 kayas, the 2 bodies, meaning the form body and dharma body or reality body. That's all. That's all.
Magoni itumta inyendu rangya changchu semtang tene sem chambada oya teje de kala tizo thamchele neta changchu sem bitawati lana me bachapores ta yinaya sanga duji tekwal tena taroya umathan gyurtia ta mata bachayores.
So compared to the vehicle of the Shravakas and the vehicle of the Pratyeka Buddhas, the vehicle of the Bodhisattvas, as we've explained it, is the highest and unsurpassable position. However, when we look at the Bodhisattva vehicle from the perspective of the higher tantras, then we can see the Bodhisattva vehicle nevertheless has some deficiencies. It has not actually realized everything there is to realize.
Tindu kanla ta tekwa chimbu tela ineta tangi labre nintu rangya changchu sum labre changchu sabade tekwa chimbu re tekwa chimbu la yang tumu mayimba ingi re tindu kanla tumu ge tekwa de uma thalgir bata semza bata uma rangi bosum dire tindu ta so dire uma se de uma thalgir mana de tene semza bata tingi tekjen semza bata uma pa ni du de tekwa chimbu re de ta tekwa chimbu dele kyang tene khebar ka tumu mayimba ge I
explained earlier that the first three vehicles of the 9 vehicles are the Shravaka, Pratyeka Buddha and Bodhisattva vehicle, and the Bodhisattva vehicle pertains to the greater vehicle, right? And within the greater vehicle there's a twofold division into the common greater vehicle and the special greater vehicle. So the Bodhisattva vehicle is the common greater vehicle, and this, as we've said, contains the path of the mind-only system and also the path of the middle way system, which have further inner divisions. The special greater vehicle or special Mahayana refers to the Vajrayana, the path of secret mantra.
Tumo mai basa doji tikbasuna tine taronga tene uma muchimbola taronga mato bachayores sunibe. Oh ya tati indi kanta kan yores na mato bacha kan lasna tala maran sunjam gum me pangro bache ke yuksem kosna chisong do sana tene tekwa chejun tamje te ta tekwa chimbo nangla 가르레스 바주 택바 침복이 인도기 택바 강사자 장주승기 택바데 티니기 시당 남당 중주라 게 개버시오 네카우수 시딩이 예르메 네루 남군 초등기 tomba니 데네 tomba니 딩이 네루 도마시 워설도 제네서 시디 Nangdong Dingi Yerme, Dene Namgun Choding Getongpani, Doma Shi Sita Rangjungri Parawa. Tiso Tamche Dunjiki, Mingi Namdan Rosere, so Tamcheke Shidi, Tamji Chikpare Lavada. Tiki Shidi, Mientu, Kansa, Takwa Chimbuki Shidan, Dene Judea Komani Chagu Chigu, Naju Lamegi, part tamjiki shi chikpares shi ditires ta shi chikpaina ta na ta kanke shi chikpaina tene diu chikpare tatu tekwa chim diu chikpare sangi kubon tobyula umani sangi kubon tomna da shagi chogi ne sangi tomna da nanjur lami gi juma anu antu sangi tomna ya chikpare shi ya chikpare diu chikpare ana kepar ka do resna lam no do resna ta jurje lam gi rembala ringlam songni songju ringlam di songni songju sonam ge sotna ishi ge songju ta ti kalwa tame sum sosane sangi kobon to pares nyelam gyu songju se de kala ta chegyu na jo gyu te ma sewe chegi dame ge nangla phagyu ta ma gyu ni ti nga ti tene ke duge de kala jana nyelam gyu songju se nga kala res gyulu da wasal gyulu songchuk serba gyulu da wasal te songchuk te ngakelam ta tumong tamche de magwani mo ta gyulu da wasal te magine shiwishe gyu da marde kanse sena anzo te upan na shiwishe chegi gyu da marde yenaya tinang duturta tinang ya dutur de kala te tepa ngadi ma sheres ta na nilu thatu bitawa de kangare sena se ya thatu selata bambu shijik lamjishe lamdila nishe takwa chimbo uma bage lamdang takwa chimbo samsamba lamjikse di tone ngak lamjikse ngak lamdila danda chegyu najrugune phagyu magyu ki parto machikse ta thatu lamde kanasen ta thatu drop di bage rogoro o di de kalun sunju ka ta ta rundu sunju takwa chimbo lamres di ne ta sumti kebras tan dinan kebrche jogarista lam ki niring ko ni lam lo dukjang ko ni deni shila kebra yo mare shi deshek ningu dema jis na deshek ningu se do ta deshek ningu to yan so pa mo shi ware kar gyu Nyingma ni de tumbo de jar ta sa ya ta gilu ta chen che tira pe so pa mo yo re ka panta tam ju so ba de deshek ningu ko ni so ba yo re tan do kan yin men ta da kana na ba tham je de na dunjun bu ji ge chara te ba tan te yo bare ti to ne te ne talwe kyang kongrang tene kargyure ten changgorim bachine mepharam bachige tumda jenge kama zresani ko song ingire tinga ram thamje kunchen long chen ram janda mepharam bachige ko ban rogo indi oya te de kala ta tharduk tene kansa deshek ning bote shila shalkwete dongwa niger ki chikpare yes lamgi goni ta tai sege na shinje songi songju sege ta gyu songju sege ji ni yores didi lamdi tene kansa ringlam res ta ringlam di 손이 숨죽지 딜이냐데 교회 숨죽지 타도 람디 다들 숨이요 람들라 가정 숨죽스 람숨디 되겠어 뉴상기디 직발했어
농친박이 공부
오 메바로 보지 숨 농친 공부래 미호는 보지 단당이디 딱히 먹고 줄 거기를 이따 도다시자만 디 농대 거랑 알로르고요 데 일메기 내로 남근 쇼는 게 돈이 데마시 내로서 지네 저지 남기를 발라 아주 놀수이샤 네 교회 성주다 다득 가르 성주길람 스트레스 성샤 데티인디 간단 돈다기 따라 시행인데 딱히 롱템 먹 딘템 두고 살아 딜럽시 데니만 저거 마셔셔 디 포인트로 다디 디 돈다 하고는 미호는 뭐지 코너서 단디 뺨미가 사부지 손도 디디 레레도 계속 딥냥가 하고서나 되네 동아하게 개발 다 하고
So to reiterate, although the view arrived at by the view of emptiness beyond constructs arrived at by the consequentialist middle way proponents, the Prasangika Madhyamakas, even though from the perspective of the Vajrayana, the higher vehicles, that is still not the ultimate consummate view, right? Just to reiterate that. So with the greater vehicle, the Mahayana, we have this distinction. We make a distinction between the common greater vehicle, which refers to the Bodhisattva vehicle, and then the special greater vehicle, which refers to the Vajrayana, the special approach of secret mantra, right? So this is, from this perspective, then the Bodhisattva vehicle still has a way to go. Longchenpa explained, and Mipam Rinpoche then also elaborated and further explained how explained some very important distinctions between the common greater vehicle, the bodhisattva vehicle, and the position of the special greater vehicle, the Vajrayana. They did this in terms of the ground, path, and fruition, right? So this framework of ground, path, and fruition. So these masters explained that in terms of the ground, both the bodhisattva vehicle and the Vajrayana vehicles of secret mantra, for both of those approaches, the ground is the same. There is no difference in the ground as understood in the bodhisattva vehicle and the Vajrayana vehicle. What is the ground? The ground is the indivisible two truths. The indivisible two truths, the relative and ultimate. Or we can describe the ground as being supreme emptiness endowed with all qualities. Another synonym for this universal ground is the primordial basis. This is referring to none other than Buddha nature, Sugata Garbha. So this is the ground, meaning that the basic state. And this is the case for, this is what is taught in the bodhisattva vehicle and also in the Vajrayana. There's no difference. There is also no difference in terms of the result. So the final result attained by followers of the bodhisattva vehicle and the final result attained by followers of the Vajrayana, whether it be the outer tantras of Kriya, Upa and Yoga, or the inner tantras of Maha, Anu and Ati Yogas, the final result that all of those practitioners follow is the same. Ultimately, they all arrive at the same place. Where the difference between these various vehicles of the Mahayana lie is in the path. So the ground is the same, fruition is the same. The differences lie on the path. So what are the differences then? The bodhisattva vehicle is described as being a long path. It is a long path, which is defined as the path of the unity of the two accumulations, the accumulation of merit and the accumulation of wisdom. This is the path of the bodhisattva vehicle, and comparatively speaking, so the practitioners of the bodhisattva vehicle accumulate merit and wisdom for 3 countless eons. So comparatively speaking, this is described as the long path. In comparison, the paths of the vehicles of the outer tantras, Kriya, Upa and Yoga, and from among the inner tantras, the father and mother tantras, they are the swift path. So these 5 levels of tantra, 3 outer tantras and the first 2 inner tantras, they altogether are the swift path. They're described as the swift path of the unity of illusion and luminosity. That refers to the tantric practices of the illusory body and luminosity. Then we have the third path, the ultimate path, which is the unity of primordial purity and spontaneous presence. And that is a much faster path, an even faster path than the paths of the 5 lower tantras. This is the path of the pinnacle vehicle of the great perfection, Ati Yoga, where the path comprises the unity of primordial purity and spontaneous presence. So this is a really important point to understand. The greater vehicle contains within it various. The greater vehicle contains within it various vehicles, right? The bodhisattva vehicle and the different levels of tantra. In terms of the ground, there is no distinction between these various vehicles, these various approaches. The ground is the same for all of them. The fruition, the ultimate result that they all lead to, is the same. There's no difference. But the differences, where did the differences come about? The differences come about in the path that's taken by the practitioners of these different vehicles. So just to repeat, the long path, that is the unity of the two accumulations, the swift path, that is the unity of the illusory body and luminosity. That's the path of the first five levels of Tantra. And then the ultimate path, that is the unity of primordial purity and spontaneous presence. That's the path of the great perfection. And because of the differences in terms of duration, so some of these paths take much longer than the others. That is why differences are posited between these vehicles.
Why? Ta nega bi ke do she sa ta kan se sana chakpa chimbu la number ni ye ti na ne tine ringlam chi da nyelam chen ta shin de nyelam sta lam sum she de kan la zoba chimbu shin de nyelam yi de kan la ta pheche ke na ba ha ko o ta ngoni ge to da sa wa ti re do a so bi ta ha ko sa res ta yi na ya da detail chi she gen de pe mi mo go she she res ta gyuru sa wa ni bu ko ra cha ta she ko ro cha ge res de indu kan la 당이 돌 뒤점 셔봐이나 단 도당가 니가 캡을 가려서 반주 도이게 남라 되니다 다이스게나 제레 균데 라서바다 되네 뭐 어떤 게 동반이게 또 라서바티 좀 빼야 보시게 요르데 이나야 나갔다 오네 값수 다롱야 되네 도이람라 하금 주요 말이 야 되네 지 딱바람 좀 이제 검주요 말에 나디 딱바람 좀 되네 중앙아 상황님 원하신 게 라이랑 신다 봉봉아이 라이랑 신다 된다기 시기요 말에 사금교 말에 나다교 말에 되네 티나신 지게 되네 상황가 띵인전 검교요 말에 딘도 가마다 딘조 탐지게 뭐니 셔바이나 되네 돌레장 나디 사실 차리요 스틱도 딘도 그 대점 미세비지게 나라야 주고서 왕지죠 다 상이해서 왕시고 딘도 나긴 주고대 왕래 딘도 주고고니야 또 당가지 겨러시던 도이디 소설 तरबिके तो बाला सब वसूल तुम के तो बालाना दर जुग शो यार सो तर तुम दिन ला सब तार के खरों के तो बालाना तने के चली गेन के केलों ला सब तो बालानी सा ngaran zo jap tum che te na basa jin tul शो यार ina ya ngala ju ko chavala nga ke ju ko to wang re wang me na te to yo ma tin du ke ju ko ni ke par yo re o ya tene lam gomsu ko ni la ke ngam da shi ko gomsu ko ni ke par yo tene di ko ni ke par yo re kansa sana 나랑서 나와 람도 집이 거니 개버려요. 강서 나와 람도 집이 경상 나가 내가 없어 나와 담들 하던 함이랑 신다고 강시라 너 신이 또 마다 나와 그냥 다들 단단 나랑서 게서 단 주담에 단다다 년 담졌다니 데데 데인도 강라 공비 거니 개버려 메르데 나위 거니 뱀이 개버려 주죠. 단 dinreke shena digo je peje donda nyamba chibugoni kebar merda dodang ani kar total tardu oma targiru bi total tardu ba isewari di total tardu wadra tini nagani ge kebar yo mare ina yang kuntum tagwa chibugoni shena den dodang ani to kebar namsa nasin ge tomo be gora ge tini kebar chibu yore di indu kama di kebar res tini ta ngatano labla digre sumalam disrebe
nobody shishana dir
yeah.
So, yeah, with that I've summarized a really crucial point. That kind of presentation summarizes for us, summarizes for us the differences between the various vehicles, or various approaches within the greater vehicle. So I've said several times, right, that the greater vehicle there's a twofold division within the greater vehicle: the common greater vehicle, which is the bodhisattva vehicle which pertains to the vehicle of characteristics. This is the longer path in terms of duration; it takes longer. And then there is the special greater vehicle, referring to the swift path of the first five levels of Tantra, and then the extremely swift path of the great perfection, right? So to understand this, the inner divisions of the greater vehicle, the different approaches that it contains, and the differences in those approaches in terms of duration and so on is very important. So now you've ascertained that very crucial point. If we were to go into discuss this in more detail, as ever, there's a lot more detail that we could go into. But in that case, we'd probably have to turn to the Guhyagarbha Tantra itself and actually go through that. And we're not going to do that here. A few more differences I want to highlight, crucial differences between the vehicles of Sutra and Tantra. So Sutra according to the greater vehicle, and Tantra, the Tantric approaches. The Sutra path of the greater vehicle and the Tantric paths of the greater vehicle. Maybe it's more clearer to say it like that. So the Sutra approach of the greater vehicle teaches profound emptiness, free of all constructs, free of all concepts. It presents karmic causality and so on very thoroughly, very lucidly, and that is excellent. Nevertheless, from the viewpoint of the paths of secret mantra, there are still many points, many aspects of reality that the sutra vehicle has not realized. For instance, boundless purity, great purity, the fact that all phenomena are essentially primordially enlightened, the fact that the five aggregates are by their very nature the five male Buddhas, the fact that the five elements of earth, water and so on are by their very nature the five female Buddhas. This is not understood or realized in the sutra teachings. Likewise, in terms of practice, that's in terms of kind of view and understanding. In terms of practice, the sutra teachings do not, the sutras do not contain teachings on deity, yoga, mantra recitation, the various samadhis or meditative concentrations of the secret mantra. So in this and many other ways, we can see that the various vehicles of secret mantra are higher, they are more exalted than the vehicle of sutra. Another important distinction is the entryway. So one enters various vehicles in a specific way. The entryway to the various vehicles of secret mantra is empowerment, tantric initiation or empowerment. In the sutra vehicle, one enters that path by taking one of the 7 types of personal liberation or pratimoksha vows. Then in the case of the bodhisattva vehicle, based on the pratimoksha vow, you take the bodhisattva vow and so on. That's how you enter the path. In the vehicles of secret mantra, however, you enter that vehicle by receiving empowerment, which is something quite special, quite distinctive, a very distinct feature of the tantric paths. You enter by means of receiving empowerment, and then you are authorized to engage in the practices of deity, mantra, and so on. So one big distinction between the paths of sutra and mantra is that the path of sutra does not take appearances as its path. We have the path of sutra in the vehicle of characteristics, the path of sutra which pertains to the vehicle of characteristics, although it realizes all phenomena to be emptiness in nature, phenomena are still regarded as impure or as ordinary. Earth is seen as earth, water is seen as water, and so on. So the pure nature of appearances is not understood. We talk about, so the pinnacle viewpoint is the inseparability of great purity and great equality, right? So in terms of pure equality, the bodhisattva, the highest view of the bodhisattva vehicle, emptiness beyond all constructs, that equates to the great equality of this highest view, the inseparability of purity and equality. So in terms of emptiness, there is no distinction between the view of sutra, the greater vehicle view of sutra, and that of secret mantra. But we also have appearances, right? Great purity. So the secret mantra vehicles understand appearances to be pure, hence the phrase great purity. But this is not realized and understood in the sutra teachings. So the understanding of the nature of appearances in the sutra vehicle compared to the secret mantra vehicles is as enormous as the difference between the earth and the sky. That's what
Indu kala da marsa chena tanda di dongan ni ke persege na ngaran so jutang ni nang la donjing na ne mamo tang tamang kawa me ba to ombud no go on chibe ngal ke te ba kebra pa ga sa ta te song sha ta te so lung tam ke ba ke ni de del go mo to de ti de kan ta tonda kan san donjik re sa ta te pa chimbo ke sang ji ko mon to go re to ke ti ten lam to to bi tabri o ya sang a do ji te ba ya te ne 상기 고방 또 dinner 그래 니걸 찍거래 또 dinner 자직을 뒤오지 던지나요 마몽 당 스타와 마몽 봐요 그래서 스타와데 강선은 더 생기다와 동이 찍고 셔야 마도게 얘네 கொஞ்சம் 답아치 몰라 이게 나와도 시어 말이 뒤거네 개버지 샤샤래 던지나 마몽 당서 던지나야 마몽 당 따와 마몽 바다 네 제스레 곰바게 탑망와 나선 곰비게 탑망보다 강하랬으나 탐망가와 메바탕 탑망보 타이 깨당 망보 당가라서 상가도 공당 선비미게 망보 게림 라인은 게림나 바시 조림은 조림나 바시 되네 랑류 탑된다 셴류 탑되는 세트네 랑류 탑된다 트루 세트네 귤류 또모 귤류 와살 포와 바르춘 야 때때리게 되네 넘버 2 랑류 탑된다 가시나 바시 가와 초가 기쁘게 가와라스 비게 되네 셴류 탑되는 건데 지 다티나 먹고 쉐기어 다른 티세게 말해 대자 당 롱당 딜레라서 비고 뭐 지금 송샤유 때네 탑 보스래 내 가원 메바스도 간도 생이 때바는 เป็นลมมังบ่ตังกะลอมังบ่ก็ชอซาจิบจังgoye bal tela tine mayin bage na ta sha ge tingen jingel tene mirwa ni to tipata mirwa ni to sanki ko bon to pite de kana kawa me pa khamang kawa me pa onbun no be wang che pe se de kana tene ngani ge 사람 망보기 뒤집어야한테 깨지가 따르게 되네. 대대고 옹본 넘버서 깨지가 되는 다도다. 단대로 이제 개와 시기는 게 또또 공효도 너르는 것이 드링 따교 맞죠. 다 드링 되게 저기 거리 제인데 다 저기 제게 삼지 시기에는 다 드링 살사야 말이야. 다지 저기 제교는 소리 딘 또또 시에도 맞도. 대트네도 되니 개발된 적이 개발해. 다 디지용 개발. 아니 디제라 다 저기 dumdum 셴 따다 그런 주제를 사라지게 된 마도 양견한 바담제 배 두저다 시결기 밑에 두저 감면서 자체로인데 양 광다에 보면 여기에 양께서 저거 아들 뭐지데 최신의 고기지가 몇 두저시고 뭐 가서 삼미들에서 결혼서도 야보도 된 나니서 아메리카 살려도 간만가 제로 야 랑도셔 최신의 거대 맞지 봐 최년에 맞지 봐 차래 인디 강한테네 다 두저다 따다 사라지게 했어 The
Hevaja Tantra, in the Hevaja Tantra, it's stated that although they have the same goal, so they meaning Sutra and Tantra, although they have the same goal, they are different in the following ways. So what are these different in what ways? The approach of secret mantra is undiluted regarding the view. So as we've said already, although the sutra teachings establish the emptiness of all things beyond constructs, in terms of appearances, they fail to understand the pure intrinsic purity of appearances, right? So in terms of the view, the secret mantra exceeds or surpasses the sutra approach because it is utterly free of confusion. It also surpasses the secret mantra also surpasses the sutra approach because it is rich in skillful means. The teachings of secret mantra contain so many skillful means, so many methods, different practices. To mention just a few, that many different types of generation stage, such as the 4 types of generation stage, the different types of completion stage practice, completion stage using one's own body, completion stage using another's body. Completion stage using one's own body is of 6 types, such as the illusory body, luminosity, dream, bardo, and so on, inner heat practice and so on. And then there's also four levels of completion stage practice through making use of another's body. There are the practices of the subtle channels, winds and energies, and so on. These are just to mention a few. The secret mantra teachings contain such a wealth of skillful means. The secret mantra practice also involves comparatively very little hardship. So when you take the sutra approach, you need to gather the accumulations of merit and wisdom over the course of 3 countless eons or more. In contrast, by following the approach of secret mantra and making use of the method of deity mantra and wisdom, you can accumulate the same amount of merit and wisdom very swiftly and very easily. Furthermore, the tantric teachings are intended for those of sharp faculties or superior faculties. This is also stated in the Hevajra Tantra, referring to students who have already accumulated merit and wisdom and who have already done quite a significant amount of purification in previous lifetimes. So such are the differences between the approach of sutra and the approach of mantra. These all highlight the kind of general differences between the sutra approach of the greater vehicle and the tantric approach of the greater vehicle. So now that I have highlighted and summarized those important points, I will go through the 6 remaining vehicles, the different levels of outer and inner tantra, kriya, upa, and so on. I'll now go quickly through all of those. I know that time and schedules are very important in Western countries, so I am going to keep to the schedule and finish in time, so within the next hour. You guys probably are very dedicated and will, well, who knows, some of you might be thinking, oh, Rinpoche is just taking forever. But in America in the past, when I taught, if I would go over the scheduled time just 5 minutes, people would just start standing up and leaving the room, you know. So I understand that time is important.
Yeah.
That's it.
Tini indu kanlata keparita kepargichu da point do de sare. Tini kanlata chagyu nanjur gidi kepar kan yoresna. Chagyu sigente tawa ta nyamba chimbo ge hakone ta uma chimbo go na shin ge trabadan sanga durji tebegi ya na tine songa na shin ji nyamba chimbo se de chetam je yene trabada travera shin de lui ge trabachalare sam seba mayem bigi Uni Kurungi, the rank Semtok Novigun Trupin, Chetum Tombanyere, Namshi by the Tombari, Yambigit in a Koya Pujik, in a Dosini Tewa Lejang, Tene Sanga Dojitik, Chaguki Kapsuyang, that Gudeji, Gudu Nala, Tachun Magina, Gudeji Nala, to shoot the Jagurva, Jagu Nalayantene, Chetum Tombanyere, Yabiko Diore. The Indukanta Chetum Tombani Goa Diore, Taroya. Umapale 사가 강요했으나 아이 다다 나랑 통기 민도때 우니 곰나 풍부가데 상제다 조왕가데 유명하이고나 상제레스 알룽기 거네고 라미게 메가 거네고 야테네 다룽다 메가 탐치기 거네 저기 땅 리피 거네 조인도 강라 셈나라 다 상제다 레스 아세트레 곰고 띠도 강라 다 우니게 되는 상제 인도 강라 다 나라야 상제 곰나야 되기래 강르잖아 Nilubra Sanki Res, Amjugitine, Awad Colliores, the Umario Mare, Naliores. Yinayang Kosam the Ati Tangata, the Mata, Taron Kosam the Shemba. Najigo to come up. Tanguni get Gomcuti, Tantaranga Sanki in Senata, Hamasheto Res. Tini Gomjig Hatan, Gomgini, Yokutan, Ponguna Shitene, Pena, Pomputigi, Taputigi, Yokula Kalate, Lajategra. Yoguti tika dup lega chigirba. Peti nasing, te hala dupne, hati pombu nasing. Te rangdi yogu nasing. Tine tindrigi samlotane, te la yishiba dunleki. raya tene korpara ya haike ne te hala sorwata ne ha gum ngande tingin zen gomni tene chelap chondu ko ne rana tene dikchur tawa ta so bi ki tene gumgyudi yores dila kanserasana o ya tene jaju ge ne kapsu o ya tene ngaran so ina ya dabutang tene yoki dushiki ko ne te ha gumgyudi yores di kanta ya di tene sanga kana lamege na 신경 상게 되어서 그때 디디간도 간세선 제규나 tinde기 따와가 맞죠네 된 하당 라인이 알거든 때 본다 요보다 본본나 신당 다보다 요보나 신기 된 두시기 되네 다당 다 감적보다 라이신 선배님이라 키버기 따왔다 주시래 디디디네 제규기 따왔드레스.
So now we come to the three outer tantras. After the Bodhisattva vehicle, we come to the three outer tantras, of which are the vehicle of Kriya Yoga, the vehicle of Upa Yoga, and the vehicle of Yoga. So first of all, the vehicle of Kriya. In terms of equality, so again we have great equality and great purity, right? In terms of great equality, the followers of the Kriya vehicle, they have realized the great equality of all things, just like the proponents of the middle way system in the Bodhisattva vehicle, who ascertained that all phenomena are empty, beyond constructs, beyond extremes. At this level, though, practitioners, followers of the Kriya vehicle, they understand this not just conceptually, but actually experientially. So they have an experiential understanding, so to speak, of the great equality of all things. They have experienced the truth of emptiness, in that, yes, all things appear, I experience them, but nevertheless they are at the same time utterly empty, essentially beyond all constructs and concepts. In this way, they are similar to the middle way proponents of the Bodhisattva vehicle, the lower vehicle. Where they surpass them is in their understanding of the purity of phenomena. So followers of the Kriya vehicle, they understand and have conviction that all phenomena are by nature enlightened. All phenomena are the nature of the deity. They understand this based on what is taught in the scriptures, and they have the conviction that that really is the case, even though they don't experience it directly for themselves. They don't perceive that truth of purity, but they have conviction that that is the nature of things. So in this way they surpass the view of the Bodhisattva vehicle practitioners. They also understand that, okay, I don't perceive the intrinsic purity of phenomena right now, but that is how they are. All things are enlightened, even though I don't experience it. If I meditate, if I apply myself to the path and meditate, I will come to realize that natural purity of all things for myself. Why? Because that is how things are. So if I practice, I will arrive at a realization of the natural state of things. Nevertheless, they still have a lingering attachment, lingering fixation, which means that they are not able to perceive themselves or conceive of themselves as being enlightened right now. This being the case, when they engage in deity practice, they perceive the deity or regard the deity as like a king or a boss, you could say, and themselves as a servant. So they visualize the deity, the wisdom deity, the real thing, in their view, in front of them. They visualize themselves in the form of the deity, but as a samaya or commitment being. And to this deity, who they regard as like a king or their sovereign, they then supplicate, they make offerings, they worship, they invoke through mantra recitation. and receive blessings from them, and so on. In that way, they gather the accumulations of merit, purify obscurations, and so on, and over time come to arrive at the ultimate result. So, because of their lingering attachment, because of their lingering attachment, then they don't have the courage to perceive themselves as equal to the deity, the wisdom deity, right now. And so when they practice, there's still this distinction between higher and lower. The deity as being higher and themselves as being lower. But they understand that by engaging in practice, they will become the deity and will come to perceive all things as the deity or as enlightened, because even though they don't perceive it now, that is the way things really are. That's all.
Then hadang tene rangi te tene trodan trojing soto rangi trokoyen la segen te rangi ta trokoyen se ta se ro jira chik respect shu mongo tene chidange yokudang pombunye na be mi khebar chiku sho de re ta troda trojen se te kanan da da wo to jire e punja ke duje se te kan da chik para ma da nga khare chiga kyo me se tamje da se ro din na hin chige ha gombi ne kap so yang nang de ta param jam ke la nyepai Nyingma nyepa chichunga guane hada rangi la keparto yuwa tokendo wadang hada ngani alganda uyi samgendo wadang hada ngini chikwa yin samgito dida samgiti dona takpa ramjim ke tawa kunzo takpa chimpi tawa la nyepa kema kiwi guane chakli yuwaris dindu kangla jagyu ta jogyu namjur ke jyuti tarong ya tangim tenpa irmi ke tawa la 대sam기 기티네 고마게요 하트 자체와다 랑이와다 무뚝데 라이 당게 무뚝 시킨데 랑이 상겐도 드긴데 랑이 드자데 라이 상게 니가 타데게 예와지 바로야 세미나라 로투비오 마레스 우마레 하바레스 우마레 강라서 우마 다로야 사추 타멀긴 두시 마도게 다베게 라이긴 두시 디게투고요 마레 쇼탐죠 동바 지레세 마도 다다니 tin 중화 라이게랑 신레 셈신 탐지 상기게랑 신레세게디 또투와 메인디가 우마바레 차레스 이나야 나줄 감이 따나 다로야 당님 된 바에 예미게 따와도 말론 비기 요요레스 다 되좀이다.
So now the next vehicle, the vehicle of Upa Yoga. Followers of practitioners or followers of this vehicle have again a slightly deeper understanding of things, and as a result, the way they practice and regard the deity is also differs. So their understanding is reflected in the way they practice. Followers of the Upa vehicle, they regard the deity as still as different from them, but as being like a friend or a relative, so on equal stature. There isn't that such a significant sense of difference, like difference in terms of superiority or quality, as there is for the followers of the Kriya vehicle, right? Who conceive of the deity as being like a sovereign, so higher than them. So practitioners of the Upa vehicle, they still visualize and conceive of the deity as a wisdom being separate from them, so visualized in front of them, for instance. But there is a sense of equality, just like with your friend. You don't really treat friends as superior beings, right? And there isn't that sense of distance that you would have with someone who you regard as your superior. Likewise with relatives, there's a closeness and there's a sense of equal stature, right? So this is how things are for the practitioners of at this level, and this demonstrates how they are that bit closer to realizing the boundless purity of all possible things, inseparable purity and equality. So we can see this. We can see practitioners getting closer to realizing the boundless purity of all things as we proceed in our survey of the vehicles. So the vehicle we just looked at, the Kriya vehicle, regarded the deity, perceive the purity of phenomena in the form of a deity who they regard as their sovereign. So there's a sense of distance there, right? Here, they've drawn nearer to that boundless purity. They perceive the deity as different from them, but as a friend, so kind of on the equal level. And in the higher vehicles, then eventually the practitioner gets to the point where they're able to see themselves as the deity. So not as someone external to them, not as someone higher, but actually themselves. So to summarize, in this way, the followers of the Upa vehicle are superior to their understanding is superior to that of the middle way proponents, the Madhyamaka proponents. But still, they have not realized purity, the indivisibility of purity and equality to its full extent. So they still have a way to go. In terms of what makes their understanding superior to that of the middle way followers, it's their understanding of purity, right? Their understanding of the intrinsic purity of all things, which is not understood at all by followers of the middle way view. Even though they understand the equality, meaning the emptiness of all things, they still see all things, all phenomena, appearances as just ordinary and impure. That's it.
kunzu takwa chimbo tela tene kebrasho ne la gomo de kanla ta tangi sagena chingi yo ta pöngi dushe ta tropo trojing de bunda punji ki dushe la subi ki tene rang di nyeba ta late sanga de sangeni ki yewa de chakri yore de di cha de kanla koni la tene kansasana yagi ne takwa kombo lami ki kyudele tene tarong ya tene matu bichadi digi tene hako yore chik teres gopyutela chobat la yan kebar yore sta tawate kebar bewache gomba tela kyapri ni chonswa tanda la gomdang tela kyapri chonswa ta choba tela kyawara se kanardon konjoge tene karbe she se so ina karsum narsum tene kola ina karu tene namtyo tanda mela minyal ni chojob koju tene che dan sa dan karba sambo dan tindela tani tene chojob kogu yarmo ta mango ge tusura takwa tanga do nyungne ta wo dro chodo tande kola jengyu ge choga indu ge te chigres tende kana tende chene tene Dobguti, tine chagyu da chugita, re kebar yore, that Mongolian to Sansamar, Te to Conchaba Capertiles. Then Jula Sangi Kobandi, Chikarete, did Dujela and Kawasum to Rukoto, Chakuto, then Chukuto and Kawachuto Gento. Then Lanchuku and Kawa Jacoris and Tilagisangi to Guti Anthony, Taringa, Yagingo, Tagandavana, Taringa, two to Gila, Tilakaba. I think it's all root of in a Kawatagina, the Konontagina cancer. Someone in Bulgarian and that, and then the Bevan Buchik and then also the interval that use. I didn't do too much.
So, to reiterate, in terms of the view, these followers of the vehicle of Kriya, the vehicle of Upa, and so on. So, in terms of the view, we have the aspect of equality. And the aspect of purity, right? We're talking about, when we talk about inseparable purity and equality. The truth of inseparable great purity and great equality. Great equality refers to all phenomena being equally empty on the ultimate level. So, in terms of this understanding, the understanding all phenomena to be completely empty on the ultimate level, which is what's meant by great equality, then the followers of Kriya, the Kriya vehicle, Upa vehicle, and so on are equal, have the same understanding as the middle way proponents, right? Who have realized in full the equality of all phenomena, because they have realized emptiness, understood emptiness beyond all constructs and all concepts. Right? So that's equality, the equality aspect of the view of inseparable purity and equality. From that perspective, there's no difference, right? between these practitioners' understanding. The differences relate to their understanding of purity, right? The boundless purity of appearances, so-called relative appearances. And we've seen, so the followers of the Kriya vehicle, they were superior, they're made superior to followers of the middle way, the middle way proponents of the Bodhisattva vehicle. How? By means of their understanding of the purity of relative things, right? Sorry. Yeah, the relative truth of great purity. There are degrees of understanding, though, of this purity, right? So the followers of the Kriya vehicle understand this purity to a certain extent, but not entirely. The followers of the Upa vehicle, which we just talked about, they understand this purity to a greater extent. That's what makes them superior to the followers of the Kriya vehicle, and so on. So this understanding of boundless purity or great purity deepens and grows, and that is what makes the vehicles we're now looking at progressively greater than the other. In short, there's a lot more detail and distinctions that we could go into, but in short, this is the distinction in terms of the view. I hope that was clear. In terms of conduct, so in terms of the conduct of both the followers of the Kriya vehicle and the Upa vehicle, there are some slight differences between them, but in short, they, in terms of food, they partake of 3 white substances and 3 sweet substances. They pay attention to astrology and to different kind of auspicious times and days in the lunar month and so on. They follow certain aspects of ritual hygiene and cleanliness, wear certain types of clothing. So this is about the conduct of both the Kriya vehicle and the Upa vehicle. In terms of their result, the result that they arrive at, the result ultimately is the same. As I've said, all of the different vehicles of the greater vehicle, within the greater vehicle, arrive at the same ultimate result. The difference, though, lies in the duration, how long it takes them to get there. So, for instance, the practitioners of the Kriya vehicle are said to take more than 30 lifetimes, or 30 lifetimes to arrive at the ultimate fruition, whereas followers of the Upa vehicle are swifter in their progress. It takes them 16 lifetimes, and followers of the Yoga vehicle take 8 lifetimes, and so on. So that's where the difference comes about, how swiftly they're able to progress. Like I said, this is a very brief overview and summary of the differences between the view, conduct, and fruition of these 3 vehicles of the outer tantras. If you want to learn about them in more detail, then, as I've said many times, the Guyagaba Tantra is the source. Also, Mipham Rinpoche's commentary on a Garland of Views contains a lot more detail.
자기 단주를 주스음도 사네. 다 남주 라미기 줄래 프로레스. 남주 라미기 줄때라 양 낭세기에나 마하요가 안노요가 아디요가 세트네. 나랑 보게잖아. 파규마규 이메기 주스 기대스무 요레스.
Now, so with that, we've covered briefly the outer tantras of Kriya, Upa, and Yoga, those 3 vehicles. Now we move on to the 3 vehicles of inner tantra. These are the vehicle of Maha, the vehicle of Anu, and the vehicle of Ati, also known as in the Tibetan tradition as the vehicle of the father tantras, vehicle of the mother tantras, and vehicle of the non-dual tantras, respectively.
Ya tatindu kong ta delip satu kong ta peche chikpato wajire tangim demba irmigi tawal ta pemigi nyaba chimbu kesare kunzo takwa chimbu imba hako diore tondum nyaba chimbu da imba le diore kunzo takwa chimbu de hako diore tindu kong la ta magi umaga makuwa de jagi chogi na jo sung da ku makuwa ta jagi chogi sumgi tarong yang da dang shi ha da rang ya kabla kebar gomjata drupjeta drupjanya ka ba kheparta bo ta de war ta lami ge sal de ta chik kheparchi ga men rang sanjire senta ha ko diores.
So once we reach the inner tantras, whether it be Maha, Anu or Ati, all followers of at this level, one has a full understanding of the view of inseparable purity and equality. One understands fully the great relative purity and great ultimate equality. So there aren't these kind of big distinctions as there were in the lower vehicles. At this point, because of the depth of one's understanding of the view of inseparable purity and equality, one does not distinguish between the purity of phenomena in the same way as practitioners following the vehicles of the outer tantras. For instance, like the Kriya practitioners who regard the deities as someone as outside and superior to themselves, or as an equal, and so on. At this level, one recognizes that one is the deity, one is Buddha. I myself am Buddha. That is understood, that is practiced, that is realized.
Tindu kanta yakine dine amo lami gi gyo leptu kanta kebra chu lo che na ma to kebra chu che gyo ma kansa na danyam de ba yermi ge dondi ta peche ta daw tra cha cha yore kunjum ta ba chenbo yimba sa ko re jungwa nga ta pungbo nga ta ye ne da no ta chu ta gyu ta tamje no ji gye je tamje sangye ge rang sing sangye ma yin ba chu chi ge ma ta me tamje sangye ge rang sing se ge yore ta yin na yang din na kebra to she one ka so 다 좁아들 다 고바고 캐브라요 말 그래서 이 고비 캐브라샤 라다 라니 알카블라티네 상이나다 네네 거서 라니 하이바 하고서래 배나 어느 여기에 값이나 막나 여기 값을 기름 남바시 알기 종비께 주기 종 기름 남바시 거네 되네 아 공거 디야 파르쪽 수라죠 말랑 그런 거 쓰는 거 온리 아스는 사건이요 되네 어느 여기에 내 값을 델레서 랑게나게 싸당 다 틀리 그때는 ranluitara kullu thamchi tian sangi gransin de shiene sa katil sala sarin ba umaro ma kyang masum sing kholo sai kholo dun segen ta sai kholo nga segen to ta mangbu sheke lung la ya tene lung elung segen to lelung segen to mangbu sheke tigli la ya tene tigli kunju ke tigli tandam ki ta mangbu sheke tan dorna ngaran so goni kango par sangi mai chi ga me der tin tu ka ta anu yoge ne ko su rangi satul lung su sangi ngor ken go byore 마요게 내가 그렇게라면 바시 거니 곰겨를 때 곰겨다 패쳤다 찍어줘 보지 그때 찍고 또 캐버시는 마도기 얘네다 곰겨거니다 찍다 곰당당 가도 패치지 다우다 뉴뉴지 캐버 마도 제기만 이나야 저거 좀 거스 캐버 제기하랬어.
So once we reach the inner tantras, there's really very little distinction actually between the understanding of the followers of these different vehicles of Maha, Anu and Ati, because they've all understood completely the inseparability of great purity and great equality. So there are only very subtle differences, and mainly in terms of conduct. Because across the board there is this understanding, full understanding and conviction that all phenomena, every single thing, without exception, is by its very nature enlightened. All things are Buddha. I myself am Buddha. This is fully understood. In terms of meditation, for instance, Mahayoga, the first of these vehicles of inner tantra, they mainly meditate on the generation stage, and there are 4 types of generation stage that correspond to the 4 types of rebirth. Rebirth from an egg, from womb, from heat and moisture, and miraculously. Whichever style of generation stage practice they follow, there is this conviction and understanding that I myself am the deity, I am Buddha, just as everything else is Buddha. There's no qualitative distinction at all. Anu Yoga, in terms they have a same understanding of purity and equality. How they put it into practice is by training with the subtle channels, winds, and essences. They visualize the three main subtle channels in the body, the central, right and left channels, the 7 subsidiary channels, and so on. Within the channels, they train in the subtle winds that travel through those channels, the karmic winds and the wisdom winds, and so on. And in the subtle essences, the relative essence and ultimate essence, there's a lot to be said about these subtle winds, channels, winds, and essences. And the practitioners of the Anu vehicle, they understand that all of the subtle channels, winds, and essences that comprise their physical body itself, all are Buddha, all are enlightened, all are awakened by nature, right here, right now. So this is their understanding, this is how they practice. And even in terms of meditation, there are only actually kind of slight differences between their meditation practices. Where the real differences lie is in terms of the conduct practiced by these various practitioners.
Di indu kangla kunzo takpa chimbo tante tondom nyamba chimbo ta kunzo takpa chimbo la yiga rang shinte rang ta la nye yebre tu chak sari ta pe migi thombo re sari ma huwa chagyu chikyu ti yuwa ma re yagin go re ya lep sari ta chupa gune shewe ne kap su chupa tila to ziki tine nga rang suena shenpa chabu chi to za chechung chabu chi kepar chik ta tiyan pe migi rang su maa pante te teksin su ju nang she she tu maa to ke karo she go na she bi she re tiyar kap kepar kante she bura anu yoka ta adu kap kepar gomdang ke tsalung ke kepar chik ta kerim kya ta kerim tsalung kepar tsamira maa to ki ta yang koksa shang na kerim liang zorim zo tsa cha sha re tindri ki go ne sha re maa to gyunsen guni gar chik maa she go chana pe che mi she to pe migi nga rang suena shim cha ne tindri cha ture di ina ya rong su maa pante te ke pe migi tila nga rang suena jis wale pe khasa lo ngarang soge gojo diredo asam kito tine sung shato di da tipe na kandes gosna choba tela khabar korasna choba tela anu yoga tan ma yoga nila choba di juruli jorwat doloski che kati tos ke te tinda meta she jingi marta inenda chendo ngal tepa guina ba shweda ngi mashin dig marba di indi kana jorwat dolwas ji yore di indi jorwat dolwas ginti chobi ko ne khabar ko so shege yores.
So in terms of the view, all followers of these vehicles, Maha, Anu, and Ati, they all possess the view of the inseparability of the truth of relative purity, of great relative purity, and the truth of great ultimate equality. This goes across the board, like I said. So in terms of the view, we can't really just make distinctions at this level. The view at this level, so all followers of these 3 vehicles have already arrived at the consummate view, this extremely high level of view. The practitioners of the outer tantras of Kriya, Upa, and Yoga do not possess the same level of confidence in the view of purity and equality, not at all. So where are the differences then? Well, like I said, it's difficult to really clearly identify and posit differences between Maha, Anu, and Ati at this level. The differences are very subtle and very slight. For instance, I just mentioned the differences in terms of meditation, like Mahayoga practices the 4 types of generation stage mainly, whereas Anu Yoga focuses on the completion stage using the subtle channels, winds, and essences. So different kind of emphases in terms of their meditation, but there isn't really like an essential difference, a fundamental difference between the generation stage practiced by Mahayoga and the completion stage practiced by Anu Yoga. It's very slight differences. So, it's very difficult for people like us to really identify the distinctions at this level. Rongzon Mahapandita, however, in his treatise Entering the Way of the Great Vehicle, he really points out very clearly and lucidly, identifies for us the subtle differences and how these points out that these subtle differences lie in terms of the conduct of the practitioners at this level. So, conduct of at the level of Maha and Anu, the conduct, there is a twofold division of conduct, or rather two types of conduct. The conduct of union and the conduct of liberation. These are actually quite, I would say, sensitive or touchy topics. They shouldn't really be discussed sort of loosely or easily. But you did request me to teach the 9 yanas, and I cannot do that properly in full without mentioning these points.
Ini ta coba goni jurur skin ciore. Ini tamsi ngola yana yang cemre yore. Tamsi goni ya mi bang wi tamsi nga singen da tang dalang wi tamsi nga singen da utang. Dukcha tang ata ngate tingi tamsi jisanga yore. Di nasi tamsi jisanga nangla. Ya tene ngaran so tunga singen to sha tang timura sabat ta tang che. Ya tene ngaran so na mi bang wa ata. Ya te tang do lang wa sa sha nga tu sing al so tang do lang wi tamsi tang. Ya tene dege tene kansa ta tawa do ko ba dubi tamsi ta tene tamsi na sha na yang los che gyore ta te pe mangushin tu zo go do sare lamsang tengi mindu. 다 딘득이 개버티 간세서 또 쩌바다 담직 건 개버티 차려야 돼. 쩌바 건 담직 되다. 그러나 저와스디 강라다 개우 편징이 저와래. 다디 저와스기 나도 탐말기 저와 나시 말에 니 저와티니 오나란 속에 되네. 디시스ම් 기코네 야비움 사르사르와타 방가르티네 샤예 강라서와 도르지다 페마 사발라스비게 살바스음닝 거니 되네 딘득이 되네 감스무라와사다 자주 딘득 거니 저와래. Dorwas again take out the teeth to be me second of the mare, team to cutting in the never tape goni. Dwalgoyer, Tia, the nectar Dalsul Manguchi, the neg Yul Goni Shimchu Sangwatan, the nectar Bararan, Itam Gela, Monto Kirwatan, the Nechiki Tatam, Bilam, the Gumata or Shiva, that's on you would not tell Moshe. That is what bad details and other ships of Pemi Mango Jatsimbo. The Shiki and children was in Gasimbo. That shot not again, Alanzoki, Pura Puti, Monlas of Watan, the Netching on Alonso, Kajigan, and this intertans to not pitch of a Jojo, Pemi Gasimbo Sunshire. The inner dance on Tawa, Metopame, Nyamleme, Rangian Sayapo, Monsanya, it is a time to Jokoto, with the water taken to Charter Matoli, Jorvatina each other, Dervatina each other, should do Jagamata, also consult those again Yamlayabu Maji de Kala. This is a time to get more like it, which teaching and taking making the charter. That don't only get down someone you get the Tangam Temba, you make combat the top with Kansaji by Ina or Tangbut in a Coachita, or to the name Yamyon Janet, then Tama topic Kansaji by Ina, when you get the Raya, Nirwan to Sanji Gubacheta, Sim Jayan, and Mampuchi, chick the name, Japson, don't drop, Pemagot and Sim Jim Mampo, had the Namkata Nib Sim Jim Tamsila. Ne ngone pempa jachi butu to atinde jimbare ti de kanga tinzu de to zogoti tene nyamne ya ko gor ma to ti mena ta da she na ya chi chobe gen de cha de da kana de la ma de la ma wo ko so sa gen sam gen de ti ngaran so de tsige ko ji ma sam ki tu nyamne ma cha na shu phen to ma ti de ta chobe ko ne jodur ki ko ne khepra she ko tamsi ki ko ne tang to long bi tamsi de tang to len tup da mi tu ko ne khepra ko ne tene khepra she she res.
So as I've said, as is pointed out for us, the main differences between the vehicles of the inner tantra lie in the conduct that is engaged in by practitioners. And as I said, the conduct practice here is the conduct of union and the conduct of liberation. There are also differences in terms of samaya, and samaya also pertains to conduct. So, for instance, there are a set of 25 samayas that are taught, and this 25 is made up of 5 sets of 5, like the 5 samayas that should be joyfully engaged in. or joyfully imbibed, which is referring to the 5 meats and 5 nectars, the 5 samayas that should be accomplished, the 5 samayas that should not be abandoned, which refers to the 5 poisons, so not abandoning the 5 poisons of attachment, anger, and so on. There are also the samayas of view, meditation, and conduct. Yes, many different samayas are enumerated at these different levels of Tantra. So that's also one distinguishing factor. Samaya, the observation of samaya pertaining also to conduct, right? We've said the conduct engaged in is the conduct of union and liberation. The conduct of union here refers to the union of 2 people, a male and female. But we're not talking about just normal sex here. This kind of practice involves what's called the threefold perception, meaning recognizing and actually perceiving oneself and others as the deity. All the environment is the pure realm and palace. One's attributes is the lotus and vajra and so on. So this is certainly not an ordinary mundane act. And this is done and can only be done by practitioners who have realized the view of inseparable great purity and great equality and really brought that into their experience. The conduct of liberation refers to liberating the consciousness of other beings. And again, this is not this is by no means an ordinary act. It is very different from just taking someone's life in a violent way. It is done by means of deep levels of samadhi, meditative concentration. There are also many criteria that have to be fulfilled. The beings being liberated must have committed or have 10 certain qualities. Be of 10 types, have 10 certain qualities. Oneself, of course, is the deity, realized to be the deity. One understands that all actions are just like a dream, an illusion, and so on. So there are a huge amount of details and kind of prerequisites regarding these 2 types of conduct of union and liberation. We won't go into, certainly won't go into those details now. They are explained in a lot of detail in many scriptures, specifically Longchenpa's Dispelling Darkness in the 10 Directions, which is a commentary on the Guyagaba Tantra. They're also explained, for instance, the conduct of liberation is explained in many ritual practices, such as in our Dujum tradition, the Vajrakalaya practice of, one of the Vajrakalaya practices, Puji Rekpo, and in other ritual liturgies as well. These days, though, it's difficult probably to find practitioners who are actually mature enough or developed, accomplished enough to actually enact these types of conduct, the conduct of union and liberation. One really needs to have realized the view of inseparable great purity and equality, to have first of all gained a conceptual understanding, then to have matured that into experience, and then developed that into direct realization. One needs to have completed mantra recitation and certain other types of practices beforehand, and only then is one fit to even begin to engage in these types of conduct. These days, a lot of people kind of superficially go about engaging in conduct, tantric union and liberation. It's really just a joke, It's just a joke or a game, almost like a game. However, if you do have a qualified practitioner who has the kind of realization and qualities that I just mentioned, and they then engage in these types of conduct, the benefit for themselves and other sentient beings is almost beyond imagination. they are able to, through these types of conduct, they are able to incredibly accelerate their journey to the ultimate state of enlightenment. And they are able to liberate the consciousnesses of so many limitless sentient beings and bring an end to so much suffering and bring about enormous benefit to really literally countless sentient beings. So to sum up, the difference at this level of practice, this level of the three vehicles of the inner tantras, the differences between them lie in their conduct and samaya. So when we say the differences lie in their conduct, this is to say that the differences are found in to what degree a practitioner is actually able to engage in the conduct of union and the conduct of liberation. That is where you can differentiate between people at the level of the inner tantras. That's what
yeah, I think the gom la yang kebar yore, ma yoga da anu yoga gom adi yoga gom la kebar yore. Ta tangu kebar jashishu ti ne jorwata dolwa ni kebar re. Ti kang la tang lang ki tam sik tang shanga tu jing ala swa. Tang dinna singe tinzo tam che me pong wi tam sik tang lang ki tam sik ta tinzo ko ne kebar she ko ra. Tinzo pe ngaran sana ne ga ta bujire. Ta di kan ti she na ma pande te te chen so chu na dung ji pe chi song she. Pena chui nang la, tene dulgi sungye sharway na, dulgi sungye dulmone mare sungye rabata. Ta dunsa te kante mi kashi te ta, te dul dunsa ta te tu dul duk changa kobra na shing so jamna shi changwa me te tindri dulgi magi chu nang, chui nang dulgi baha ma ho ne, sungye baha tila shen zhudu ne, tindri chigin mi chig chunga res. Didi dosengi tekwa tawa res, dosengi tekwa ki tene nga ranzo chanshu ki tekwa mi mungbo pangwari, dosha pangwari, shetang pangwari, taat nyetang dosha shetang ki te nga zo khorwa la chamgire dangzin pangwari se tene ta par pangjara tene chodo res. Di dosengi tekwa tawa res, tangi te togo se chik tenpa togo sarwa rejimido, tanga teksin sukchi madang lo yisum do sarsum, di mashi ne lo yisum do, marzada mungbo shia sarinde. Gopal tangi teksin sukchi sarsum shishia sarade, ina ta mashi ne yang tandaraga gaipshin lo shingaji dosum, tiki yakujiran tengi mita. Ta ina pechi usuk jam tok tengi rejdu. Tene deta wadi dosengi tekwa res. Tangpo sharu rada, di koram ti mangoni koram mare. Di pagi sungnya la dul resam shena, ta digi so jabta tsato waza jodo ganti, dosengi tekwa gila sha res. Tene, di dulki sungnya res, gante chagyu nanju sungi, di dulki sungnya la shenna chagyu shigo ma res, ina ya koram tiri dul la ya char suk meres. Di dul mare, dul mone mare, dulki sungnya res. Tinda pe miga dosengi tekwa na shi duen drogo mare, koram lagu ware. Nanju tamja lai rang she res, she re, pe dil da she ne, dul mare, tini ta dul le she ko mare lagu de, koram sun dul la yong tu pitta, tila chik yang, sin tuwa lang sa drogo yo mare, te yang dul la wong ne, tini tila char tuwa yo mare. Titi, chagyu nanju tini chigi desum la sha res. Tini maa yoga le so, kawa, di dul che kawa yara, tini chu nanga sungye nang re, drogu je kawa tene pagine koronso pena chagyu soge di dul mare di dul ki sungye re tila shego mare se mila lapto ro koronso tarong yang sem na sha na to zo de kan tin dam la char tu meres ni do sengi te ko ge ganza chagyu na yo sum sha de ma yo ge le on de kan tila shegu ga yo res tene di te tene kar dul mere was dul mare di ganza sana sungye re lamne tene chu nala dukshiya tal lakpa jap kawa tuk dul mido was tene karpar che shares di tene dires kansa sana ma yoga ta anu yoga ge lega ti jorwa ti tina shire jorwa ta jorwa sankyan kawa re jorwa ta jorwa sakende hakona yunden re sam tinde ge tene tatara anu yoga ta ma yoga tu kebar tok zer tangi ta ya puji tengi mita ta tekin suche sangi lo na ta lamsa ha ko ti indi kan ta dul til la wa jam dire che bares. Deni anu yoga ata pechi dinda yasay. Anu yoga ki deni dan dide kaya deka dul kora matu gala dila chik nang lapa nyabda meda kangchi gore. Dida diji shochawa mara did ranshinga matu re samne. Korongi Sem Nangla, that to your Mares, Tarang, Dulki Topati Mabang, and then they take it under your Garashawares. Then Adi Yogi town to come, Tamji Quantum, Adi Yogi town to come. Tango Dul Koran Rashi Matubari, Shunanga Dule, Tilishanas and Drew, Kupakuna, and those singing. No moment the Shasha Dantimu Narjal Chapo Tamjit Hakon ishing at it. Pumpung at the Hakonani, Jawaring at it. Joan like the Hakonani, Yunga Rashi, Tilla Drugu uses the Tilistopasi which is all married. Shadan Narjal Chato, Latina Drugu is all married. Jervat and Drova, the Shake which is all married. This again, the singing Tapalashares. Then Shunanga Dul the Rangi Kansas and Attila. Chotugu merite, Mila Chinanga Dure, Dila Shanantico Maras, Mila up to work, Ranchu Mutubi, Dene Chaki Towers. The Congressana, Ranga come to go up, around Rata Chipon York and Ponda York capital, Lola Shaggy, Mila, I attend Kunzu Tapasimo, Chipper, Hatang, Chipper, Kali love to go here. Yena also go to Kala, Haling to the Georgian now Shergore, had the Taga around the Duga is again now Shergore. Diggins Congressana. Take it, did it when I do re, Shunanga to get the Mugumare, Shunel Kashanachiko Mare secondly, you took it over this. Then Dina left to Kala, Kansas and Tajit in a Shuna, Dulcato, she walked in a middle, Halat in a middle, how I am in door, until some Shula Paragap in the security, Mahayoga Lagares, Mahayoga. Shouldn't do him, but till it do me to die. Taron said, no, she know you said something. Lamsang, some Jita, and one talks of members of you go to Lamsang, what a young juggler, young Jenny. Not to this you dear. In a Zobashim with dinner, Kansas and should making it Lagarabos, who would do the job over this. Come here till Lavanya Bush, my young Nakor on him, what there is. Then I knew Yoga, Ma Yoga get it loves one. Yoga Dulkin go Lapajan Mindu Sandra. Anu Yoga ke Tanti in Dulta Mindu, Tin Dula Mindu, Dul Dua Mindu, Sunny, Tene, Titaron, Dulkin Nawatla, Chictos, the Tati inside which Tangati, Tini kept tossed, I was paid the opposite entertainment. Antinagenti, Anu Yoga is. Tan Dorna, Council was an Adi Yoga de Leo de Kanaka, that you again did the Kupacunare. Dio Mary Laventi a jog of it. And the Shunanga Dula, the Nikashuji, Halil, Power, you lock, you can't log the Shukurana Dula Power, you can't show man. I do did that. Reta Mare, Tanga, Reta Mare, in a coach Ken's house to ask something. She told the Taron, and Yogaki, the Dula Mare, goes you Madu the Taron, now what the Shamba Madodi. I Taron, did the chick. Around the same as I film Tagedo, film that Zimmer is Hagona, to do all those and I can see it. Oh, yeah, did dinner, she didn't the Anu Yoga Charles. Adi Yoga left to Kana, Adi Yoga left to Kana, Dul get me Chunashana. Money Tati Mother Kake, dinner, Dul, Yopik, Shavan, Jigway, but Dul get Jigwash, you to dog big show, Kake, me Papa Rango, Marjani. Chicker, Chukrong now as Madoke, Dulgin now as Anameba, Chenancho, Palang, and Bezel comes at the Terry. Jipakrong now near the kitty. It's all what you comes in on the drop and you get out at this. I must be chess of chess on that. I am late. Sorry. It's okay? Okay, now I get permission.
So yeah, the main differences here between Maha and Anu lie in their conduct, right, as I explained, and also the samayas that they hold. There are slight differences in terms of their meditation, right, the way that they meditate, the things they train in. But the biggest differences, the most significant ones, lie in terms of the conduct and the samaya. So this is just to sum up. These differences are explained really well through Rongso Mahapandita in his Entering the Way of the Great Vehicle, using like a story or an analogy. So Rongsom, he says, okay, imagine there's like a lake, and on the surface of the lake is the reflection of a snake. There's no snake there, but there's the reflection of a snake. A really poisonous snake, like a cobra or something, really dangerous poisonous snake, on the surface of the lake. Some people, when they see this reflection, they are absolutely terrified. They think, oh my God, this is a poisonous snake, it could kill us, God knows what could happen, we need to get out of here, and they freak out and they run away. So he says this is like people who respond to the reflection of the poisonous snake like this are like followers of the bodhisattva vehicle, of the vehicle of characteristics. They view the three poisons of attachment, aversion, and ignorance like that, right? They think, the three poisons, they can really harm us. We have to be careful and abandon the three poisons, otherwise they're going to ensnare us in samsara and we'll never get out. So you have to reject the three poisons and instead adopt other things. Otherwise, you'll be trapped. So the bodhisattva vehicle of characteristics is like that, he says. There are other people who see this reflection of the poisonous snake, and they recognize immediately, there's no snake here, it's just a reflection. So they understand, okay, this is just a reflection, there's no poisonous snake here, it can't harm us. But still they're a little intimidated by the reflection, So they're aware that there's nothing really there that's going to hurt them, but they don't actually dare go up to the reflection and hang out by the reflection. So they know, they have the knowledge that it's just a reflection, it's not real, but they kind of lack the courage to actually. And they can tell other people, this isn't a real snake, it's just a reflection, it can't hurt you. But they themselves can't actually go ahead and engage with this reflection. Rongsom says this illustrates the mentality of outer tantra practitioners, people following the vehicles of Kriya, Upa, and Yoga. So they. So they understand, practitioners of the three outer tantras, they understand that things, that they are the deity, or things are phenomena are the deity, but they're not able to actually enact that themselves, right? As a result, when they practice visualizing the deity as outside of them, in front of themselves. So they don't have the courage to visualize themselves as the deity, to see themselves as the deity. They see the deity outside of them, as above them, being as a superior being, and so on. So this is the meaning illustrated by this example. Whenever there's an example used in teachings, we need to identify the meaning that the example is pointing out to us, right? Okay, so then we have some other people who also see immediately, this is just a reflection, no need to be scared at all. And they're not kind of intimidated, they don't keep their distance like the other people. They say, come on, this is just a reflection, there's nothing to be scared of at all. And they kind of plunge their hands into the water and they disturb the water to get rid of the reflection. And they say, here, you see, there's nothing there, nothing can hurt us. They shake the water up. So this is like this illustrates the mentality of Maha-yoga practitioners. Yeah, they plunge their hands into the water to destroy the reflection, actually to kind of prove to themselves that there's nothing there, to actually overcome their fear, right? They do have some slight fear that, maybe there's something there, but to overcome that fear, then they put their hand in and destroy the reflection. So this is like the Maha-yoga practitioners are like this. Then we have the practitioners of the Anu vehicle. When they see the reflection, they know that there's nothing there, they're not afraid, and they don't feel any need to prove that to themselves by plunging their hands into the water, because they're not afraid at all. But still they are kind of interested, they're slightly fascinated by the reflection. So they haven't, this illustrates the fact that at the level of Anu Yoga, the practitioner hasn't totally overcome their attachment or their fascination with appearances. So they're still kind of interested, attached in that sense to the appearance of the reflection. A bit, maybe similar to the way we would watch a movie. We know very well that there's nothing there, but we're fascinated by it, right? We watch. Then we have the pinnacle vehicle of Ati Yoga. From this perspective, all of these other reactions are just totally mistaken and kind of funny. They're just a joke. Practitioners of the Ati Yoga, following the analogy, they see the reflection and there's no reaction at all, no reaction and no response. They just rest, no reaction or response to appearances at all. Rather, such practitioners, they just rest in the natural state of things, in a state of natural rest, free of all effort, free of all exertion. This is the supreme of all views and approaches, the pinnacle of all 9 vehicles, the view of Ati Yoga, the great perfection. So in terms of to return to the analogy, they simply perceive the appearance of a reflection in water. That's it, end of story. There's no further response. Yeah.
다 저거 친구 강할 때서는 다다 니 상계를 상계 신다 싸고 말이스 초지 뭐서나 강사선 초지 뒤시 강아야 저거 상계 이 미길 셈이 저거 상계 때 상계 신나 마소 다다랑 상계를 다다 결혼 셈들랑 상계를 결혼 하마고를 마도 땅 고다 땅바 탐제라 시고 싶을때니 주동업 주사교 하죠 때 다다 상상 발에 셈 그런 거 어디 슈구 기르와 메비 그란신도 도지사바 도지창 군도상부터 해서 민지 그래 이인도 도지션다 군도상 비그란신 네더래 마치바티 하고잉아 따와 니시고니 랑게 리파데 상게 레도 랑게 풍감 깨지 탐지데 얘네 상게도 다다버도 하마고네 상게 이메선 가라서 출당 망고도 중다 망고 자라마다 하고서 마지 띵하다 샤니 샤샤 번지 저바치면 다당을 했더니 뭐다 저바치면 신나 잘 두고 말했어 초주 뒤시를 잡나 상이 얘기 말했어 상이 지금 결혼 그 셈다 결혼 그 류디니 알자고 그래서 다 디송샤랬어.
At the level of Ati Yoga, one understands, one has realized that everything is enlightened right here and now. There is nothing more to do, there is no enlightenment, no awakening to be sought. There is nothing to do because everything is enlightened Buddha right here and right now. In Longchenpa's Dispelling Darkness in the 10 Directions, he says, even if you were to search in all 10 directions and throughout all 4 times for enlightenment, for Buddhahood, you will never ever find it. Buddhahood or enlightenment is right here in your own mind, or it is your own mind, so don't search for Buddhahood elsewhere. This is to say that at this level, the way things are is understood completely, such that the practitioner knows that their basic awareness, Rigpa, is the nature of enlightenment, is the unwavering, unchanging Dhammakaya Buddha, which we can call Vajrasattva, which we can call Vajradhara. They're the same thing, just different names for the same thing, namely the unwavering state of awareness. This practitioner understands that within one's own basic awareness, awakened awareness, are present all of the boundless deities, the 100 deities, the peaceful and wrathful mandalas. They've realized that their elements are the 5 female Buddhas, their aggregates are the 5 male Buddhas, that all phenomena without exception are primordially enlightened, and that is how it is right here and now. There is nothing for them to realize, there is nothing to do, everything is enlightened. So they simply rest in the natural state. That's how it is. That's all.
Tene ta ngaranzo karsena sangi segende sembe ne de yores ten du kana tele lobse sangi salke choji tu zogo sangi yeme kirsonre ten du kana ngaranzo lamsul bi gone dubne sangi tu bi jo mar lamsul bi gone dubbe sangi ta anu yong ka bachete ta zoba chimusen zulme ke sangi zoro me bi garanjo sangi yoba subjo go yore tinanga ndoi na ngaranzo gyugi na kanshosena ishi gyabne yongwa asla ishi gyabne yongwa segende to singi te pare kalwa trames unda sosa de ishi so yarkego de ishi gyabne yongwa ishi dunni charwa se zegi jogi de nanjirgi gyosre de zotena ha ko nga de ne de ishi de kali yar de ha ko nga de tingin zgom chungger ishi kong charwa se de zoba chimbol sa rang semdol ya se on tuma to jendal ka ke ko ma de ndi tang an zoba chimbol se ko ishi kong charwa ko re ta drink stop de che ma to zorsa mais.
So Buddha, enlightenment, Buddhahood, awakening is in our own awareness, our own mind. That's where it is. It is not to be found anywhere else. So this is what is realized by at the level of Ati Yoga, the great perfection. From among the 9 vehicles, the first 8 vehicles, all the way up to the 8th vehicle of Anu Yoga, they are all paths of effort, effortful paths. So it's said that the first 8 vehicles are paths where awakening is sought through effort, through exertion. In contrast, the path of Ati Yoga, the great perfection, is effortless, so enlightenment is found without any effort at all. Similarly, the first 3 of the 9 vehicles, so the Shravaka, Pratyeka Buddha and Bodhisattva vehicle that comprise the causal vehicle of characteristics, they're described as paths that bring primordial wisdom later on. It's not the best translation, but they bring primordial wisdom later on, in the sense they bring about primordial wisdom later on, because in those paths one has to practice with a lot of effort and undergoing austerities for many lifetimes and many eons, right? And only then does one arrive at primordial wisdom. The paths of Tantra, so the 3 outer Tantras, and also Maha and Anu from among the inner Tantras, they are described as paths that invite primordial wisdom from in front. So through the practice of deity and mantra, they invite or invoke primordial wisdom from in front. But in contrast, the path of Ati Yoga, the vehicle of Ati, great perfection, is said to be the path that makes primordial wisdom dawn from within. So that is the path, the approach that we need to arrive at, where primordial wisdom manifests from within, free of effort, just naturally manifests from within us. So, okay, I'm going to stop here now.
Tene ta di dupche do ina ta ta song du tensi ta kanse papa ji tensi ta chini su ki tensi su ta te ma go dupche kanse ta ga de sangi yen ba sem jen tam ji ki la sangi yen bi ki dupche des tinzu dupche an te ngaran so ta ngan woni ke sangi ke redo sam ji ge nya pa ji ke bi go ne Tene ngaranzo de wang shu tene kingro kom tene kom jap tene lechevaina tene pe migi te ngaranzo ina ijingin do ijinero hakoni tigi ritang hako tigi pejo shedo hakona terimboche te yapoji pejo ma to rimboche dodo yena tirimboche ba hama dodo jikar zona gonga kugum rangi pejo tongo ma tigi yonden shege ma tendu rikpa de rang la yore rikpa de rang ti ijingin do to wajere ijingin do rindang de rangi hako ore hako so manju ti ijinero ke tene gosho pe pentore di matona ngazo tanta bar dise ni ran jung rikwa no ma hama tanta korwa chamde taram korwa chamde 다 하고 chen di tola gomni di ngondu kirbi tabshi chigoyo di jungso manju di ngara diringi chuyoshi bigi todade choyde yores.
The fact or the reality that all sentient beings, oneself included, really are actually enlightened, awakened right here and now already, can be established through logical reasoning. Logical reasonings that are found in the tantric scriptures, reasonings such as the 4 types of realization, the 3 characteristics, and so on. If you study those logical reasonings, you can come to understand, to gain conviction, conviction and certainty that really is the case. Myself and all beings, we really are already enlightened right here and now. If you then receive tantric initiation or empowerment, and you follow that up with practice, engaging in deity practice, mantra recitation, and so on, then you can gain actual realization of this truth, this reality, and recognize that actually your basic awareness is the nature, is Buddha. Your basic awareness is already enlightened. All phenomena are already enlightened right here and now. That is how it is. You can recognize the jewel, the wish-fulfilling jewel of your intrinsic awareness for what it really is. Up until now, we've failed to realize this, right? It's like you have a wish-fulfilling jewel right in front of you. This jewel can grant you anything you want, but you're not aware that the jewel is a jewel, so you don't use it, and you are destitute. Our failure to recognize the enlightened, primordially enlightened nature of our awareness and all things is just like that. And as a result, our basic awareness, even though it is enlightened right here and now, that reality has failed to manifest in our experience because we failed to acknowledge that for ourselves. And because of our failure to recognize and acknowledge that, then we've fallen into delusion and have been wandering through samsara endlessly up until now. And we will continue to wander until we recognize. So we should apply ourselves to practice. We should gain conviction in this reality, apply ourselves to practice, and through that actually manifest this reality, really gain a direct realization of the way things are, which is that our basic awareness is Buddha right here and now. And then our invaluable awareness will really become, its true worth, its true value will manifest. That's what.
So, tinita nrudi ngo mashinani kage ngo mashinate ka pendo karo ngo shinaya ngo mashinate do chikwa chikchang te ngo shinaya te beju majena chiko go chike pendo to pendo maris tina shi rikpate ngo mashinata te semjena karo na tutu chikwa pendo maris rikpate ngo shiwa inaya tini chik gom yakko jap tini rikpate ngundu kiribike tabshi majena tanzang gaso dibage dibde dikana tini ya chik sangi yimba samchiki tanda gaso pekai chogu maris titi indi gom yamle yakko chiro chis tingi deshari da to chis tai lungdeng gyume ta deshutu chik chitukudu te gongda ngarang tang chigi takchi naba tamche tang cheyotu ta tiring deshari tingi gewa ngowa chigis.
If you fail to recognize a jewel for what it is, then its value, you can say, it doesn't have any value, right? It might as well just be an ordinary stone. But just recognizing the value of the stone isn't enough. You then need to put it to good use, right? To actually use it for something. Otherwise, what's really the use of recognizing that the precious stone is a precious stone? So, likewise, we need to recognize that our basic awareness is Buddha, but we need to kind of put that recognition to good use as well, in the sense that just coming to recognize that, oh, my basic awareness is Buddha, things are in reality enlightened right here and now, and gaining some conviction in that. If we don't actually follow up or build on that conviction by engaging in practice and purifying all the obscurations that prevent us from from realizing that to its full extent, then again, it's just recognizing the nature of awareness is not so useful, right? So please practice well. Please apply yourself to practice, and then all of this will become useful and valuable. I'm going to stop here for tonight. I thought I might give the long or the oral transmission for a garland of views if we had time, but we've already run over time, so I won't do that. You're probably tired, it's late, I'm also tired, so I'm going to stop here. Let's please dedicate the merit of this session.